boy cause I'm feeling outstanding. Bought her a bag cause I'm feeling romantic. Skirt, skirt, watch that Rari do damage. I made her turn up her standards. Let's go. You know that I'm tryna dive in you. Is in her cruise, watch me glide with you. Roll up that wood and get high with you. Stay 1K, ain't no surprise with you. Hit my line when you on that number. Shawty, you been high.
Hello guys. Hello. Sorry for awkward silence right at the beginning of the video, but I feel like if you watched this many videos, you probably like my weird beginning sounds, because I don't know if I start out mini without assaulting your ears with first assaulting your ears with music. Wonderful music. And then once the music stops, you get this garbage. So thanks for stopping by once again. It's the Koopa. I know you like Dragon Quest at least. You know, we'll put a pin in those sounds for now. But I know you are a fan of Dragon Quest, so I appreciate you being here. Today we're doing a little bit of vocation dedication, and we're getting the pirate done. It's something that's been on the docket for me for a minute. Not only because I really like the quest line here. I think it's very enthralling, very fun. There's a lot of uh, I guess mystery. You know, a bit of a twist at the end there. And it's good to go through, get a couple of the classes that we don't necessarily need, but will be very helpful to speed things up. So I already did this quest on KU, on the other character, because the pirate is like one of the easiest classes to get to very high DPS very quickly. So having them on a support member is very helpful if you want just like a really quick glass cannon to be able to grind out things with. So that was my plan. Essentially, I grabbed that pretty early on. I want to say it's probably like February this year or so. And just, moved through it, flowing through it, and didn't decide to really record the other, the other character doing the vocation quest yet until now, just because, it hasn't really fell in line with what I was doing at the moment. Didn't really need it on this character too much, and like I've mentioned quite a few times before, it's not really that hard. Not really that difficult of a game before version 3. You really don't need things like that. But we're getting further and further. In version 4, I'm kind of scared, guys, if being real with you. Kind of scared of what version 4 brings. So we'll hold off. We'll stave off of our efforts, you could call it, for a little bit, until I really need the pirate, until I really, like feel like it's something that's required to get in there. And yeah, I've just decided that now is that time. Now is that time. We're almost recording wise. I've recorded all of version 3. I just need the boss of version 3 to be done, who is quite the bitch. But we'll get into that later. Just giving you a little progress report on that. I feel like a lot of the things that come with version 4 will be surprising to you. Surprising to me as well, because I played through it, but other than the general story summary, the spark notes of it, I cannot remember what the hell goes on in there. As a matter of fact, most of the areas from version 4 I don't really even go back to, if I'm being real. In game. And I do play this game every day. So just imagine, like, it's a game you're in every day and you never go to these maps at all. It's a little weird. It's a little weird. But hopefully we'll find some love in it, just like I find love in everything. Over here we do have the pirate quest that we're doing. So look at a story summary as we travel through getting our vocation in the first place. Basically there, what you have to do is defeat some, I forget what they're called, like Viking zombies or Viking skeletons or whatever, because they are, the lore behind this enemy is these pirates of old, old pirate ancestors who, also used to roam the seas, do the whole vocation of cannons and whatnot. So you kill one of those guys and pray over his sacrificial body, and then you get the pirate class. And then after that, we go ahead and switch to the vocation. This is, I don't know what they're called because they're not called master vocations, but I guess they're called like middle vocations because you don't start them at level one like a few of the other new released classes. You start at level 50 with pirate, and you don't need to level it up at all to start the quests. So we get our pirate class, allocate a couple skill points, and then go back to the second quest, which essentially just introduces us to our antagonist of the story. We go to get wood to repair the ship at Kiramui. And then we go meet a guy who does not like pirates, and he's trying to like interrogate us about like some pirates who are doing some bad stuff. I don't think they give you the details that it's not specifically our pirate troop, but you can kind of like, figure it out like that. We didn't do that, but he's looking for other pirates. No. We'll have a little chat with him, get our wood, bring it back, and tell the captain. And that's essentially the basis of the quest. But it sets up a lot of what's going on with the whole pirate lineage and in general a lot of what goes on in RPG plots. And I feel like just conflict plots in general. It all comes down to misunderstandings because as you'll come to see, dude is not very nice to any pirates at all. He just kind of assumes. He just kind of has, past experiences that lead him to believe that all pirates are going to be a little, so he comes off quite a bit strong, and you'll see that more and more as we go throughout this quest chain. But yeah, I suppose we'll get into the whole analogy podcast section of the video that everybody freaking loves. Um, yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not going to get too pessimistic or self-deprecating about these sections. I do like doing them. I just kind of like talking in general, and maybe it's just the inner masculine, super efficient multitasking brain of mine, but like when I do playthroughs like this, or when I do any kind of gaming content or stuff that I just really like doing content. I feel like if I'm not like helping and assisting with something else while I'm doing it, like I don't allow you to do a podcast or whatever, it's just not as fun to me. If I'm not grinding in like two or three things at once. I feel like although life has become so much more efficient and fast, because of that, I feel like I need to do more and not, relax and do less because you don't really have to do a lot nowadays to get what you used to have to work very hard to do. Just a lot more shortcuts. But I kind of openly just go against those shortcuts even in my brain, man. Like it's very easy to read something, not really read something, maybe a typo or whatever, and you just kind of like mull over it and you're like, whatever, send it in. It's good, it makes sense, I can read that. And then somebody else reads it and they see the typo or whatever. But I really do try my best, although I multitask all the time, try my best to skip the shortcuts, especially mentally. Because thinking through these things and, rereading our stuff and all this stuff, you really don't think it's a terrible, terrible upfront issue until it takes you a long time to read through like one paragraph of legal text or something like that, or a fiction book, and then you read a passage and you're like, I have no idea what I just read, or just small things like that, and you're like, this is not conducive to how I want my mind to work in the future, the far-reaching future. But if you go deeper into that, if you go deeper into the fact that people really don't want to understand, or they don't really drive people to get those understandings. You kind of just base an idea on an opinion, and you go. Um, yeah, it's a little annoying to really solve problems, to really solve conflicts. It pushes you to be a pirate and say, fuck it, I'm not gonna try and solve conflicts and be a member of society. I'm going to steal what I want to. I'm going to find a treasure and I'm going to live in the life of luxury, on my own rules, on my own morals and values. Because nowadays it seems like you don't want to understand this other person's values. You want to trick them if you have to to get them onto your side and your values. Because, I don't even know if people believe some of the stuff they really preach because I've just heard it so much. Like you hear a lot of the same rhetoric because it feels taboo to sometimes go against the narrative even. Especially when it's just a narrative that's been so solidified in the climate as far as what we've seen, as far as what the media usually pushes and tells us what's going on in the world because oh look at this event that actually happened, but it's lying to you when they don't show you all of the events that happen that are like this over a span of like a year because it's giving you just a blip of time and having you hyper focus on that because of all the stories happening at the same time doing that thing and luckily we have a pretty quick news media cycle so you're going to forget about these things pretty quickly. But the insidious part about it is that nobody notices the pattern. Nobody realizes that we're really only reporting on, black people doing horrible shit and retarded crimes and things like that. And, guys raping women all the time and stuff like that. When a lot of the stuff it's really terrible, like, men being sexually abused or psychologically abused in relationships, financially abused in relationships, there's no statistics on that because it's highly underreported. Because when things like that happen to guys, we usually see it as our fault. So why would we report it? It's not nothing to report. It's just my mistake. I could fixed it. I could have stopped it at any time if I just said no. And you imagine, like a lot of things, I like to think up different thought models of the world and just to see what happens if I change like one parameter of a thing. Like I feel like if I truly was a pirate and I could steal anything or I could like swap anything, if I could just change one parameter of the world, I like to have these thought experiments to just go through and see like what could you do? What would it morph, right? So I say all this to say what would happen if we switched those things and women were the highly accountable race and men just said, not my fault. I didn't do that. It's not a thing, whatever. But we were still super strong and they were still super weak. And I think just in general, we would have a way more policed society. Um, because all we do is for women. So if they were holding not only us accountable, but also themselves, and we were the debaucherous bullshit, I mean, we'd probably be in a matriarch. Truth be told. Truth be told. Because with the accountability and the knowledge and the strength of emotions they attain, I feel like really that's like just like the missing component. As long as you have that and you actually want to solve a problem, it's gonna get solved. And even though, just like now, even though in this world that I'm imagining, there would be some guys that don't take accountability. There would still be some guys that do, like maybe a few that do. And the crazy thing about guys is that you need a very, 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 very small amount of them to do good work. The vast majority of us, we're gonna do work, right? It's just not gonna be as good as those select few. It's a sliding scale, and a lot of us can't admit that. But if you get rid of accountability, everybody will not admit that. They'll all be like, "It's not me. It's not them. It's not. I'm the best worker ever." So to combat that, the reason why I'm saying it'd be way more policed society is that people would just, there would be no accountability for all like the male cops. So they'd just be throwing people away for no reason. They'd be jailing and jailing and jailing. And it would be way more hyper vigilant than it was now. Like if you think national surveillance is bad now, with the accountability swapped, it would be crazy. And this is just another thought model that I have. You really don't know um, whether these things will truly corroborate or come out the way you think about it, because there's so many variables in humans. But I just think if you look at it that way, we are in a very beautiful situation in society. a very good and, profitable place to be, especially in Western civilization. And it may seem like all of the wealth is centered on one place, but I have a little bit of a different opinion and say you don't really want that level of money in our specifically, you know, community dead climate. Because when you have that money, you become the community. You become the family. You become the resource. You become Walmart when you have that money. And nobody wants that. You're going to grow resentment and eventually not be able to give as much. And you're going to burn yourself out, run through with your hamster wheel. So I really preach delayed gratification because it's not really, the earning potential that's going to change your life. It's the spending potential. So if you have delayed gratification and you just slowly earn more while spending the same instead of getting a giant boost in profits, and then you have to change your spending a little bit because it feels weird to have that much money. I really preach that delayed gratification. There's not a lot of people that say when working one job or two jobs just to do on the side and make it part time and really just doing something that you like to do can bring you, I guess, sort of like the happiness that you want to take into the next segment of your life. And it can. And I really like to embrace the fact that if you put love into everything you do, it's going to come back to you. So everybody trying to get the crazy side hustles going on, the crazy like I gotta steal this and I gotta pirate that and I gotta to get my bag. I'm like, if you put love in everything you do, love in the form of money is going to come back to you. It doesn't really matter what scheme you have. I don't want to be one of these defeatists, but our lives were just destined before us. There's really not much we can do to change the path. We can alter a little bit, but the crash outs are maybe gonna change your velocity, but we're always gonna go back to our nature. It's just like when you're drawing a line, like sure, you can have one crazy year of your life where you do some insane shit and then the line moves this way. Um, but usually we just fall back into our own habits and then just keeps going in the same direction. I know why I said this way. Maybe I'll put a little thing on the screen, a little graphics, but I really do hate editing, so I apologize, guys. I hope you guys like my little intros and outros. Perhaps in a few years I'll edit it a little bit more. But for now, just enjoy these wonderful Dragon Quest graphics. There's wonderful cosplays. We got Duran here from Seiken Densetsu 3. Cool guy, cool guy. I love him. But yeah, in general, you gotta know. Of course. Everybody does got their own prerogatives and things they want to get to go and get their goals and get their life in order per se. But everybody is kind of trying to do the same thing, to live, to build generational wealth, to help someone out, to whatever. And the only people that you think that you intellectualize are ahead of you or whatever are the people that just kind of act like they're ahead of it. They like they don't care. Like it doesn't really matter too much to them. And they just worry about having the best time in the moment they're with you in, because you're not going to really remember the number in their bank account. You probably don't even know that number. You're just going to remember how you felt when you were around them. And that's what leads you to believe that this person just has something figured out, has something that I don't. And usually that's never the case. Usually, I mean, everybody kind of grass is always greener kind of thing. So usually they kind of want something from you, that they're just too scared to ask. But that's the thing, guys. A lot of attraction nowadays is ambiguity. A lot of creepiness nowadays is also ambiguity. And that line is not very clearly drawn in the sand in our popular culture nowadays, to say the least. It's not very clear. So a lot of guys just opt out and just say fuck it. I'm not gonna try anything. I mean, maybe I'll try working to get money, but I don't give a fuck about it. And I understand that. I understand. The only reason why I still work is because it really does bring light to me. I'm not like, this is not some blowing smoke up my ass, but helping people and building things and locking in and completing tasks, it really does fulfill me, but it doesn't have to fulfill you. It's not for everybody. And like I said, you've survived this long. Our futures are determined. If you're feel like you're just running your wheels and in the rat race and you got to change something, then just change something, sure. But I implore you to really do things that make you happy in the moment. I don't care if it's a vice. I don't care if it's terrible. If it's a vice, actually, the great job, good job. Do that vice until you feel like, you crash out with it. I don't care if it's anything, it's whatever. Just do the vice, do it like crazy. And this is horrible advice for some people. But for the people that's horrible advice to, I apologize. This is just what I believe. You're not going to get anywhere different if you don't go the distance in the bullshit that you're in now. So go the distance, live your life, live it happily. Because, fucking a whole year, a whole 2 years of trying to do something that's not really in your nature, just to go back, 5 or 4 years later, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. We all know ourselves better than anyone else because holy shit, we've had to live this whole life in this body. It hasn't been a fun one, but it certainly has been a learning one. It certainly has been a growing one. So if you want to, elevate to something different, understand that you have to accept where you are now and naturally move on to something else. And that's going to take a lot of like hyper levels of acceptance. And where do you start accepting? By jumping in the po. Oh yeah. So accept your guys, accept your guys. Accept your woman, accept your woman. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, subscribe. I love you. I hope to see you next time when we do more pirate things, when I talk about more pirate platitudes. And yeah, I'll see you next time. See you later, guys. Bye.
I'm tryna dive in you. His and her cruise, watch me glide with you. Roll up that wood and get high with you. Stay 1K, ain't no surprise with you. Hit my line when you want that lumber. Shawty, you been hiding, I'ma catch you in the summer. Turn a 50 play into 100, ain't no fumbles. Your ex said he ballin', but he got no jumper. Shot my boy Harlow, racks in my cargoes. Meals on my mind, I'ma get that tomorrow. Back in the day, used to whip Monte Carlo. Shot my boy Bobby, shot my boy Harvo. That I can lay down with. Said the pic to me, told her that she look astounding. Walked in and she cut it down with. And she like the way I'm well-rounded. Don't talk too much. If I'm on the switch, it might be all too